All right, let's dive into something that sounds, well, like a really bad idea. How do you eat plants that are literally trying to kill you? And I'm not talking about a little tummy ache. This is a story about survival, some seriously ancient science, and figuring out how to turn nature's deadliest weapons into dinner.
I mean, really think about that for a second. We're not just boiling some carrots here. This is a deliberate, weeks-long process, all just to disarm a plant's poison. That is an insane amount of work for a single meal, right?
So that leads to the big question, doesn't it? Why would anyone do this? I mean, in a world full of perfectly safe things to eat, why take the risk? Well, the answer gets into this amazing story of desperation, but also human curiosity and just mind-blowing ingenuity.
Okay, so to figure out the how, we first have to get the why. And the why is this. Plants are not just sitting there waiting to be eaten. Not at all. They've spent millions of years developing their very own chemical warfare program to defend themselves.
And that's the key word right there, defense. A toxin isn't some random chemical byproduct. Nope, it's a weapon. Plants make this stuff on purpose to stop creatures, including you and me, from eating them. It's basically nature's big, flashing, do not eat sign.
So if you think of plants as these chemical fortresses, then our ancestors were the ultimate hackers. They didn't have fancy labs or anything like that, but what they did have was observation and a lot of patience. They literally figured out how to crack the code of the plant's own biology.
And this is so important to get. The goal wasn't just to cook something, it was to disarm it. You either had to break down the poison on a chemical level, making it harmless, or you had to physically get it out of the plant. Two totally different approaches.
And here they are, the two main playbooks. On one side, you've got chemical neutralization. Think of it like an inside job. You're changing the poison's chemical formula so it's not poison anymore. And on the other side, physical removal. This is the brute force method. You were literally just squeezing the toxic stuff right out. Okay, so how did they actually pull this off? Let's get into the specifics of these two ancient methods, because the thinking behind them is just brilliant. And you'll see, it's not just about plants.
And this is what's so wild. This way of thinking, it wasn't a one-trick pony. The exact same logic, using natural processes to transform something dangerous or useless into something useful, that's how you get edible fermented shark in Iceland. It's even how you tan animal hides to make leather. It's like this universal survival hack. So let's start with the physical method, the bury and press. First, you bury the plant in the special grally sand, which was probably really coarse and let liquid pass through. Then you pile on heavy rocks for pressure. And then you just wait. For weeks. All that time and pressure just slowly squeezes the poisonous juices out, leaving the good stuff behind. Now, the chemical method is way more subtle. It's pretty clever. By setting it the right conditions for fermentation, you're basically unleashing a tiny army of microbes. These little guys produce acids, and those acids get to work inside the plant, just dismantling the poison molecules until they're totally harmless. It's like they were doing microbiology before anyone even knew what a microbe was. Incredible. So, okay, cool story. But why does this actually matter? Well, because it's so much bigger than just an old recipe. This marks a huge shift in how humans interacted with the world. We went from just being at the mercy of nature to actively figuring out how to shape it for our own survival. And that's really the main point. This wasn't cooking. It was science. It was applied chemistry and botany. It was even a kind of engineering. We're talking about a giant leap in human innovation, and it was all driven by the one thing that gets us all moving: hunger. And this quote just says it all, doesn't it? Our survival as a species wasn't about finding the easy path. It was about looking at a world full of danger and saying, okay, how do we make this work for us? It's about our incredible ability to adapt and innovate. So that leaves us with something to think about. If our ancestors could figure out how to find food in something poisonous, what are we overlooking today? What are the things that we've learned to fear that might just be an opportunity in disguise, waiting for us to look at it in a new way?